The streets of Vulcan 9, a lonely alien outpost planet, were silent under the twin moons. Most people had gone to their warm homes. The wind blew dust and trash through the empty roads. Jack Rayner, a human trader and ex-soldier, walked through the dark alley, heading back to his ship. He had just sold a few parts and supplies. His day was over, or so he thought. Then he heard it. A soft cry. It was not loud, but it was strange. Not a human cry, not even an animal. It was shaky, like someone who had lost all hope. Jack stopped. Listen. Again, the sound echoed. Please, help us. Jack's soldier instincts kicked in. He pulled his small blaster from his hip and moved toward the sound. His boots crunched over broken glass and dust as he entered the narrow alley. There, in the shadows, he saw them. A tall alien woman sat on the cold ground, her arms around 3 small children. They were shaking, wearing torn clothes, and their faces were thin from hunger. The woman's skin had a soft blue tone, her eyes glowing faintly. She looked weak, broken. Jack lowered his weapon slowly. The woman raised her head and looked at him with tired eyes. Human, please, take them. I don't care what you do to me. Just don't let them die. Jack blinked. What are you talking about? They are my children, she whispered. I have no food, no home. No one wants us. My mate is dead. My kind sees me as useless. Broken. The smallest child reached toward Jack with a trembling hand. Are you good? Jack's heart twisted. I'm not sure, he said quietly, kneeling. But I don't hurt children. The woman gave a faint smile that disappeared quickly. You are the first to stop. The first to ask. Jack looked around. The alley smelled of rot and old trash. How long have they been here? Why are you in this condition? He asked. My kind do not support widows. They throw us away. My husband died in the war. I have nothing left but my children, but I cannot feed them. We are invisible now. Jack's jaw tightened. He hated this kind of cruelty. Suddenly, blue lights flashed at the end of the alley. Patrol bots. They rolled forward on spinning legs, red lenses scanning. A robotic voice echoed. Unauthorized street presence detected. Clear the area or be removed. The alien woman clutched her children tightly. Please, if they see us, they'll take the children. They say street kids disappear. Jack stood, blocking the bot's view. These are my guests, he said firmly. Identify, one bot demanded. Jack Rayner, human trader. Sector. Pass approved. The bot scanned him. After a few seconds, they backed away. Guest status confirmed. Be advised, loitering aliens must be housed within 24 hours or reported. The bots turned and left. Jack turned back to the alien family. You heard them. I can't leave you here. You don't have to save us, the woman said softly. Just save my children. Jack took a deep breath. What's your name? Naraya. I'm not the kind of man who walks away from people begging in the dirt, Naraya. Especially not children. He took off his coat and wrapped it around the smallest child. I have a small base not far from here. You'll be safe there for the night. Tears filled Naraya's eyes, but she didn't cry. She just nodded. Jack lifted one of the children, and the others followed quietly. As they walked out of the alley, Naraya whispered something under her breath. What was that? Jack asked. She looked at him, voice trembling. I said, may the stars bless the human heart. You're the first to care. Jack didn't reply. He just kept walking, but in his chest something changed. He didn't know it yet, but this moment in the dusty alley would change his life forever. The door creaked open with a hiss as Jack stepped into his small outpost cabin. The warm air hit his face, but the cold weight in his arms reminded him this night was far from normal. A tiny hand tugged at his shirt. The child he carried looked up at him with wide golden eyes. Is this home now? The little one asked. Jack paused. For a soldier who had lived in tents, bunkers, and space stations, home was a strange word. He lowered the child gently onto a soft cot. It's safe. That's what matters. Behind him, Naraya entered, slowly with her 2 other children. Her long blue fingers clutched a worn blanket as if it were a shield. The children didn't speak much. They looked around the room like wild animals trying to figure out if the walls would trap them or protect them. Jack walked to the old heater and turned it on. The room hummed. Soft heat began to spread. You can rest here, Jack said. You're not on the street anymore. Naraya didn't sit. She stood by the door as if ready to run. Thank you, human, she said quietly, but I will leave at sunrise. Just let the children stay. Jack frowned. Why would you leave? Because kindness like this always asks for a price later. She said, I'm not asking for anything. Naraya looked at him with tired, ancient eyes. That's what frightens me most. The children huddled together on the floor. One of them picked up Jack's worn scarf and hugged it like a toy. Jack tried to cook a warm meal, something simple. As the smell filled the room, the youngest child crawled close and sniffed the air like a starving cub. When Jack handed her a bowl, she held it as if it were treasure. Naraya watched, still standing. Jack turned to her. You haven't eaten, have you? She didn't answer. He held out a bowl. Food's not poisoned, I swear. After a long pause, she took it, holding it with both hands. Her fingers were trembling. As they ate, Jack watched them. 3 small lives and a mother who had already given up on herself. But not them. That meant something. When the children finally fell asleep in a pile of blankets, Naraya sat near the wall, still alert. Jack sat across the room, sipping water. He broke the silence. Why did no one help you before? Naraya looked at the children before she answered. Because we're seen as damaged. My mate died in the war. After that, my clan erased us. No widow, no half-orphaned children. We were trash to them. Jack clenched his jaw. I've seen trash. This isn't it. Then came a knock. Sharp. Loud. Wrong. Jack grabbed his blaster and stood. Stay here. He opened the door just a crack. A tall alien stood there, dressed in gray patrol armor. Human, he said. We received a report. An unregistered alien. Widow and her offspring were seen with you. Jack didn't move. So, the officer sneered. You've taken an unwanted cargo. They're not cargo. They're not legal either. Hand them over. Jack stepped outside and closed the door behind him. I don't care about your rules, he said. They're staying with me. You'll be marked for harboring unworthy life. Jack narrowed his eyes. I've been marked worse. The officer stared at him for a moment, then left without a word. Jack stayed outside for a few minutes, breathing heavily. When he came back in, Naraya stood up, pale and shaking. What did he say? He said you're not legal, Jack muttered. But I don't give a damn. Why? She whispered. Why would a human care? Jack didn't answer right away. He just looked at the sleeping children, and finally said, because I know what it's like to be thrown away. Naraya lowered her eyes. That night, Jack didn't sleep much. Neither did Naraya. They were both strangers in the same silence. But something had begun. A spark. And outside, in the shadows beyond the window, something else watched. Something with red eyes. And a memory of Naraya's past. The metal spoon slipped from the child's hand and hit the floor with a loud clink. That small sound triggered something big. From the far corner of the cabin, a hidden drawer in Jack's wall console flashed red. The lights on an old, dusty human military device blinked awake for the first time in years. Jack stood quickly. What the hell? The device made a humming sound, scanning the room with a faint beam of light. It stopped on Relo, the oldest of Naraya's children. Then, a robotic voice spoke from the unit. Genetic match detected. Hybrid pattern confirmed. Assigning human guardian protocol complete. Jack blinked. Wait, what? The console displayed glowing words. Legal guardian assigned. Jack Rayner. Status active. Naraya stepped back in shock. What is that thing? Jack stared at the device. It's old military tech. I forgot I even had it. It was built to protect war orphans during the old Earth Alliance war. But why would it scan my child? She asked. Jack's voice was low. Because that tech only responds to children with human DNA. Silence. Naraya's face went pale. No, it can't be. Jack turned to her, his eyes serious. Naraya. Was your mate human? She shook her head at first, then stopped. He wasn't fully alien, she admitted. He was part of a mixed-unit task force kept secret. We weren't supposed to bond, but we did. We had them in secret. My people never knew their blood carried human spark. Jack looked at the sleeping children. He understood now. They weren't just outcasts. They were targets, half-human children from a forbidden love. Illegal in some alien cultures. Hated by both sides. They'll come for them, Jack whispered. When they find out what they really are. Naraya nodded. That's why I stayed silent. That's why I begged you to save them, even if I had to die. Before Jack could answer, a small alarm beeped on his tablet. He checked the screen. Surveillance breach. Camera down. Movement detected. His face tightened. We've been found. Naraya stepped back, panic rising. It's too soon. I thought we had time. Jack grabbed his weapon and tossed her a small shock stick. We'll make time. He opened the back door silently and scanned the forest. Line outside. A shadow moved, not a patrol bot, a man, wearing hunter's armor, tall and silent. He had a red symbol burned into his chest plate, an old mark from the war. Naraya gasped when she saw it. That mark! He wore the same as my husband. He's from the same unit. Jack narrowed his eyes. Then he knows the truth about your children. The man didn't speak. He just pointed a scanner toward the cabin. Then his eyes locked with Jack's, and he smiled. Not kindly. Jack fired a warning shot, but the man vanished like a ghost. Jack shut the door and bolted it. We've got to move, he said. Now. But where will we go? Naraya asked. I have a friend, Jack said. Back on Earth's moon base. She works in refugee transport. If we reach her, she might help us disappear. He knelt near the children, waking them gently. It's time to play a game, he whispered. We're going on an adventure. But we have to be very quiet, very fast. The kids nodded sleepily, too young to know the danger, but smart enough to obey. As they packed, Naraya stopped him once more. You were supposed to just give us shelter. You owe us nothing. Jack looked at her. No, he said. But I already feel like I've been chosen for something. That scanner didn't just see blood. It saw purpose. Outside, the wind howled louder. And somewhere beyond the trees, the hunter waited. The strange mark on the hunter's chest wouldn't leave Jack's mind, even after they escaped through the forest, even after 3 hours of running, even after they found shelter inside a cold, abandoned mining shack. Jack kept seeing it. A red claw wrapped around a star. That same symbol was on a small photo. Naraya had once shown him a photo of her dead husband. Now it was on the man hunting them. He's not just a soldier, Jack said in a low voice as he locked the shack's metal door. He's someone from your past. Naraya sat on the floor, arms around her children. Her face was pale. I know that symbol. They called themselves the Shadow Bloods. My husband was part of them. Before he left, Jack stared at her. Why would one of his own hunt your kids? Naraya closed her eyes. Because when he left, he broke their oath. He chose family over war. They don't forgive that. Jack paced the small shack, trying to think. Outside, the wind howled. The cold air carried dust and dry leaves. The children were wrapped in Thick blankets huddled near a broken heater. Suddenly, a voice came through the shack's old speaker system, static-filled and deep. "Naraya." She froze. The voice continued, "I am not here for you. I am here for what belongs to us. Give them back, and I will let you die with peace." The children looked up, confused and scared. Jack moved fast, smashing the old speaker with a pipe. "He's close." Naraya stood up slowly, shaking. "His name is Thalon. He served beside my mate. They were like brothers. Until we escaped. I thought he died in the last battle." Jack's voice was tight. "He didn't. He's alive. And he wants the children because of what they are. He believes they carry something powerful," Naraya said. "Maybe he's right. My husband. He once told me our children could change things. Maybe Thalon wants that power for his group." Jack stared at the floor. "Or to destroy them before others find out." Then, a loud bang shook the shack. A smoke charge rolled under the door, hissing, "Get down!" Jack shouted, covering the children as smoke filled the room. The walls shook again, a second explosion. This time near the side. Jack grabbed Naraya's hand and pulled her toward the rear exit. But before they reached it, the door was torn open, and Thalon stepped in. He wasn't just tall, he was like a shadow in armor. His eyes glowed red beneath. A dark helmet dot, and when he removed it, Naraya gasped. "Thalon, you look the same," he smirked. "And you look tired, widow." Jack stepped in front of her. "You want something, speak." Thalon tilted his head. "Not something, someone. The three little ones. We trained to create powerful hybrids once, not to raise them as pets." Jack raised his weapon. "They're not weapons, they're children." Thalon didn't flinch, "Then die with them." He raised his arm to fire, but before he could shoot, the oldest child, Rilo, stepped forward, hands shaking, eyes glowing faintly gold. "Don't hurt them!" Rilo shouted. "Don't touch my mother!" A pulse of light exploded from his body brief, but strong. It knocked Thalon back against the wall, hard enough to crack the steel behind him. Jack blinked in shock. What was that? Naraya ran to her son and caught him as he collapsed, exhausted. "He doesn't know how to control it," she whispered. Thalon stood up slowly, laughing. "So, it's true." He turned toward Jack. "You have no idea what you've taken in. You think you're their savior, but you're holding a spark that others will kill for." Jack stepped closer. "Let them try." Thalon smiled, blood running from his mouth. "They will." And then he vanished. A small teleport beacon on his chest activated, and in a flash of light, he was gone. Silence returned to the shack. Jack locked the door again, heart still racing. Naraya rocked her child gently. "They'll keep coming," she said. Jack nodded. "Then we need to run smarter. But where?" she asked. Jack looked out the cracked window at the stars above. "To someone who owes me a favor, and who knows how to protect children like yours." Rilo hadn't opened his eyes in hours. His little chest rose and fell slowly, too slowly. He lay wrapped in Jack's old jacket, breathing like someone deep inside a dream or a nightmare. Jack sat beside him, holding the boy's tiny hand, watching. The flickering veins of golden light pulse faintly under his skin. Naraya's voice trembled. "Is he changing?" Jack didn't answer. He didn't know. He'd seen soldiers mutate from exposure to alien tech, but nothing like this. Rilo wasn't sick, he was awakening. And that frightened Jack more than anything, because power like that draws attention. And the wrong people always come first. Jack stood, grabbed a communicator from his pack, and sent a coded message through an old military frequency, requesting emergency pickup. 1 human, 1 alien mother, 3 hybrid children. Urgent protection required. He waited. Static. Then a soft voice replied. "Jack, after all these years?" Jack exhaled. "Yeah, it's me." The voice replied, serious now. "Where are you And what have you gotten yourself into this time? Jack glanced at Rilo. Something worth saving. 2 hours later, they were on the move again, riding inside a hidden transport shuttle flown by Major Ilara Vaughn, a tough ex-commander. An old friend of Jack's from the war. She stared at the children in silence for a while. You weren't joking, she said. They have energy signatures I've only seen in advanced human-alien test subjects. Naraya flinched. They're not test subjects. They're my children. Ilara softened. I meant no disrespect. But they're unique. And that's dangerous. Jack nodded. We need protection. Somewhere they can grow without being hunted. Ilara turned to him. There is one place. Deep inside the moon colony's lower levels. Old science bunkers abandoned, but still protected. No one goes there anymore. Naraya's voice was low. Will it be safe? Ilara looked at her. It's not warm or pretty, but yes, it's safe. As they landed, Rilo suddenly stirred. He sat up slowly, eyes glowing brighter than before. Mom. I saw Dad. Naraya's heart jumped. In a dream? Rilo nodded. He said, I have to protect you now. He said we're not broken. We're chosen. Jack and Ilara exchanged a glance. Chosen? Ilara scanned Rilo quickly with a handheld device. Her eyes widened. His cells are changing. He's not just hybrid. He's generating power from both human and alien strands. And it's sinking. Jack rubbed his jaw. So what does that mean? It means, Ilara said, this child might grow into something the galaxy's never seen before. In the underground shelter, the air was dry and cold, but it was secure. The children slept in real beds for the first time in months. Jack stood guard near the heavy steel door. Naraya sat beside him, quiet. She finally spoke. You could have walked away. Why didn't you? Jack looked at her. I think I was meant to find you. She smiled, tired but honest. I was beginning to think no one was ever meant for me again. Jack looked away. You're wrong. You just needed someone who could see past what others fear. Just then, Ilara rushed in with a tablet in her hand. You both need to see this. She tapped the screen. A broadcast from the Alien High Council played. A warning to all systems. Human traitor Jack Rayner has taken a genetically unstable hybrid into hiding. He is to be captured alive. The child must be returned immediately. Jack stared at the screen. They know. Ilara's voice was grim. It's only a matter of time before they send more than hunters. Naraya placed her hand on Jack's arm. What do we do now? Jack looked at the sleeping children. Now, he said, we train. We hide, and when the time comes, we fight. It began with silence. Too quiet. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that makes your skin feel tight. Like the air itself is waiting to explode. Jack felt it first. He stood outside the underground shelter, staring into the blinking tunnel. Lights. A single drop of sweat ran down the side of his face. Even though the air was cold, something was wrong. The security cameras went black one by one. No alarms, no beeping, just black screens. He turned fast. Ilara, they've found us. Inside. Ilara was already strapping on her armor. No ships landed. They're using cloak tech, ground team, stealth class. Naraya pulled her children behind the reinforced wall. How many? Ilara checked the hacked feed. 6, maybe more. But these aren't bounty hunters. These are erasers. Jack's blood ran cold. He'd heard of them. Quiet, fast, no warnings. No survivors. Outside. The shadows moved with deadly purpose. 6 figures, dressed in matte black armor, each carrying silent weapons, walked like ghosts through the empty tunnels. They had one mission: erase the hybrid threat. Jack turned to Naraya. Stay inside, don't move. Don't open the door unless it's my voice. Naraya's eyes were wide. You can't fight them alone. I won't, Jack said, loading his weapon. Illyra's with me, Illyra smirked. Like old times. The two of them moved out, locking the door behind them. Every step they took, the lights above flickered. The enemy was jamming signals, hacking power. Jack and Illyra moved like shadows, sticking to the walls, counting their breath. Then a flash of red. A silent dart flew through the air, missing Jack's head by an inch. He rolled, aimed, and fired. The shot hit nothing. They're fast, he muttered. They're watching. US, Illyra replied, waiting for a mistake. Just then, a low growl came through the coms. You're protecting an infection, Jack Rayner. Jack froze. That voice. It wasn't Thalon. It was colder. Sharper. Double quotes. We are not here to warn. We are here to cleanse. Jack spat on the ground. Funny, I thought monsters were supposed to roar, not talk. Gunfire erupted from the far tunnel, blinding flashes in the dark. Jack and Illyra moved fast, ducking, rolling, firing. 2 enemies dropped, but 4 remained, and they weren't slowing down. Back in the bunker, Relo's eyes snapped open. He sat up, eyes glowing gold. He looked at his mother. They're here. Naraya held him. We know. We must stay. Quiet, but Relo shook his head. No, I can feel them. They're like cold fire. He walked to the wall, touched it. The lights flickered around him. Suddenly, a hidden panel in the wall slid open, a secret Jack had never discovered. Inside was an old control panel, and a glowing orb. Rilo stepped closer. It's calling to me. Outside, Jack was running low on ammo. Illyra was wounded, a gash on her side, but still standing. They're pushing us back, she said, teeth clenched. Then everything stopped. Ground shook. A deep humming filled the tunnels. Lights exploded with golden energy. And from the end of the corridor, Relo appeared, his small body glowing like a sun. The attackers paused. One of them spoke. The child has activated the core. Jack shouted, Relo, get back! But Relo raised his hand slowly, and the floor lit up with ancient symbols. Alien. Human. Connected. Rilo single quotes. S. Voice echoed, deeper than before. You came to erase me. But you can't erase what's already awakened. A wave of energy burst out from him. Not violent but powerful. The enemies were knocked off their feet. Armor cracked, systems fried. Smoke filled the corridor. And when it cleared, the erasers were gone. Nothing left but empty suits. Jack rushed forward, grabbing Relo. The boy collapsed in his arms, breathing hard but alive. Naraya ran to them, holding her son tightly. Jack looked at Illyra, stunned. What just happened? Illyra was pale. I think your child just connected to something bigger than us. A system, or a force buried deep in this moon. Jack held Relo close. They won't stop coming. Naraya looked up, fierce now. Then we stop running, Jack nodded. Agreed. It's time to show them. This family fights back. The stars were falling. At least that's what it looked like from the broken window of the underground base. Relo stood on the ledge, eyes glowing soft gold, watching the sky as debris from the destroyed enemy ship rained like silver dust. Jack stepped beside him and placed a hand on his shoulder. You did that, Jack said quietly. Relo looked up at him. I didn't want to hurt them. You didn't, Jack replied. You protected your family. Behind them, Naraya held the youngest child close, her eyes red from both fear and joy. Her second child laughed as Illyra handed him a shiny old earth coin. For bravery, she'd said with a grin. But it wasn't over. Not yet. Because now, the galaxy knew. They knew the child existed. They knew he was powerful. And worst of all, they knew he had a human guardian. 3 days passed. Jack sent coded messages to every contact he could trust. He made one last call to the Earth Council. Give them protection, he said. You owe me that much. The human general on the other end nodded slowly. We've seen the footage. That boy, he's more than hybrid. He's proof. Proof of what? Jack asked. The general replied, that human and alien life don't need to be enemies. They can build something better together. Within a week, Earth's transport ships arrived, but not to arrest. They came to welcome Relo, and his siblings were quietly registered under Earth's new Unified Child Protection Pact, a law Jack had helped draft years ago but never imagined would protect his own. Naraya stood on the landing dock, staring at Earth's blue skies for the first time. Her hands trembled. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It's your home now," Jack said, standing beside her. "Are you sure they'll accept us?" she asked. Jack smiled gently. "They already have." A small house was waiting for them in the green hills outside New Berlin, a quiet place with trees, a river, and sunlight that warmed the skin. The children laughed as they played outside. Relo no longer glowed unless he chose to. He was learning to control the light inside him. Ilara visited often, always bringing gift-stringing tools, snacks, and time, a kitten. Jack sat on the porch with Naraya one afternoon, watching the sun set. She looked at him and said, "You saved us." Jack shook his head. "You were never lost. You just needed someone to see you." She placed her hand over his. Softly, she said, "When I begged you that night in the alley, I never thought you would actually say yes." Jack looked into her eyes. "When I saw you holding those children in the dirt, I didn't see weakness. I saw a mother stronger than war, stronger than hate." Tears filled her eyes, but this time they were warm. "Do you think we'll be safe now?" Jack looked out at the fields where Relo was showing his younger sister how to make a flower glow with a single touch. He nodded. "Not just safe," he said. "I think you'll finally be free." Final scene. Late that night, Relo walked into Jack's room, holding a blanket. "Can I sleep here tonight?" he asked. Jack smiled. "Nightmares?" Relo nodded. "Just a little one. About the man in black armor." Jack patted the bed. "Come on, I've got room." As Relo climbed in, he whispered, "I'm glad you didn't walk away in that alley." Jack placed a hand on his shoulder. "Me too, kid." "Me too." Outside the window, the stars no longer looked like they were falling. They looked like they were finally shining. Just for them.